Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, one of the titans of the rap industry. I mean, people put him up with the likes of Eminem, Tupac, and Biggie, but I'll be the judge of that. Is he overrated? Is he properly rated? Is he the GOAT? Well, we're gonna get to that today. So I figured Kendrick Lamar has 8 different albums, and for the next 8 days, I will be picking a different album to listen to, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Music, it makes me dance. You got the music,
All right, day 1. Let's go back to 2010. Who's Kendrick Lamar? I've never heard of Kendrick Lamar. I'm playing my Xbox 360 right now. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, boom. Here we have Overly Dedicated, Kendrick Lamar's 4th solo mixtape. But on Spotify, this is like the first one to be on streaming services. So that's what I'm basing it off. I'm going to be like Anthony Fantano here with these reviews. It's going to be great. All right, I just listened to Overly Dedicated. I liked it. My ears liked it. A little rough around the edges because it's his early work, but you could just tell he had a spark. I mean, the tracks that really stood out to me were Barbed Wire and She Needs Me, because it was a very different approach. I mean, obviously, I've heard some Kendrick Lamar songs, and I haven't really heard a love song type of approach from him, and I really liked it. This is going on my playlist. With this track, Barbed Wire, he had so much energy, and the storytelling was great. In advance, I'll apologize, but there's going to be a lot of glazing here. All right, I say it how it is. If it's good, I'm going to call it good. If it's bad, I'm going to call it bad. But yeah, this whole album kind of gives like an early 2000s, 2010s type of vibe, and I'm all here for it. I really liked it. Next up, we have Section 80. I think I've heard like a song or two from this album, but according to the fanboys out there, this is OG Kendrick Lamar. If you want the old school, this is where you go. This is where the real fans go. Let's see what Section 80 has to offer. We have Section 80 right off the bat. This is great. I mean, the first song off of it, F Your Ethnicity, the production is great. The lyrics are great. I mean, everything going on from the lyrics to the background going on, it was mesmerizing. I loved it. Cushion Corinthians was a highlight for me. I remember seeing that video of Timothy Chalamet in Kendrick Lamar in the GNX, listening to that song. I was like, what's that song? I've never heard that. What are you talking about? And now I just listened to it. And now I know that Timmy knows ball. Thanks for putting me on. Another highlight, Rigor Mortis. The rapping is just great, and it kind of just aged well overall. That song is a banger. And then ADHD, also a banger. Also, especially a banger in GTA. Overall, Section 80, very underrated. Now we have Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. Going into this, I was like, all right, it better reach the hype. People hype this up. People put it up super high. Does it live up to the hype? Yes, 100%. This might be some of his best work. I mean, there are like no skips here. We have M.A.A.D City, Good Kid, Don't Kill My Vibe, Poetic Justice. I mean, it just keeps getting better. M.A.A.D City, I'm a white boy from Ohio, and even I felt like I was in the middle of Compton while listening to that. Don't Kill My Vibe, felt like I was levitating. And then Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. It had me feeling all sorts of emotions. I had to like look up on Google what it meant because it was a little too much for my brain rot, TikTok, Instagram, Reels self to comprehend. I was going to sit here and try to explain it, but we'll have the main man himself explain it because he kind of, like wrote the song.
The Sing About Me is actually a specific story about one of my homeboys passing away that I seen pass in front of my eyes that really turned everything around full circle. So when you go to a track like Dying of Thirst, and that same day we was getting a spoken word from an elderly lady telling us about God, I really based them 2 tracks together because that was a situation that happened at the exact same time.
Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. I mean, I feel like this is some of Kendrick Lamar's best work. One of the best rap albums I've ever heard. This was great. Good Kid, M.A.A.D City is going to be hard to top, but up next we have To Pimp a Butterfly.
Are you really who they idolize? To pimp a butterfly.
To Pimp a Butterfly, does it live up to the hype? Yes, I think it does. Here are some of the highlights of it. I think Wesley's Theory was great. The Blacker the Berry, all right. Oh yeah, that's a really underrated Kendrick Lamar song. These Walls was really good, except for the intro that was like kind of freaky. It kind of caught me off guard, but it was still a great song. You can tell Kendrick Lamar had a clear message with this one, and he did a good job of conveying that. It lives up to the hype. It's monumental. Not my favorite though. I probably prefer Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. That's just my opinion. Next up, we have Untitled Unmastered, the throwaways from To Pimp a Butterfly. Now we have Untitled Unmastered. Yeah, it's throwaways from To Pimp a Butterfly, and it's still really good. I mean, I'm sorry here, but like, there's not going to be much negative reviews here. This album just works really well. I mean, it almost starts to take kind of like a jazz approach as it goes on. Some of my highlights, Untitled 05 and Untitled 08, two very great songs. I mean, it just works. Now we have his 2017 album, Damn. Kendrick Lamar was kind of on a run here. That's 3 straight years of releasing an album, and this was yet another good one. I mean, there are a lot of classics on here. Humble, of course. Love, Duckworth, Fear. I mean, it is a lot to like. If you come to Kendrick Lamar for the storytelling, this is the album for you. One thing I did find weird when I first listened to it was the whole reverse stuff. I mean, I know it made sense if you're looking at the story of it, but when you're just listening to it, it does come off really weird at first, and I think it could kind of, go unneeded. Other than that, this was another great album. Damn is a good album. Surely the people won't have to wait 5 years for another Kendrick Lamar album. Oh wait, they do. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. After listening to it, I don't think it gets the recognition it deserves, or at least when it first came out. I'm starting to see more respect for it, but the highlights on here, N95, United in Grief, Count Me Out, these are all bangers. Count Me Out and United in Grief are all kind of hype up tracks that do a very good job, but then there's also really deep songs like Mother I Sober and Father Time that kind of show Kendrick Lamar's more vulnerable side. Now to this point, I've heard him rap about so many things, but on this album in particular, he is very authentic and shares a lot of information in this, and I can respect that. Some of his best work, I don't think it gets the recognition it deserves. And lastly, we have 2024 surprise album, GNX. This was very experimental compared to his other albums. We saw him experiment with a lot of different deliveries and production styles. Some of the highlights on this include Reincarnated, Whacked Out Murals, and probably my favorite, The Heart Part 6. TV Off was also really good. I mean, we had Kendrick Lamar screaming Mustard, which, I mean, that got pretty corny pretty fast, but we had to enjoy it while it lasted. This is definitely a good album. For Kendrick Lamar standards, it's not my favorite, but I did appreciate the experimenting on this album. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I think you can tell if you watched any of the video that at the end of the day, Kendrick Lamar is not overrated. And I think he is one of the best rappers out there. Comment down below. Is he in your top 10 rappers of all time? Top 5? Top 3 for any of you guys? This was a little bit of a different video. Comment down below if you enjoyed. As always, thanks for tuning in. Love you. Adios.